You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. As Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible.
All right, folks, welcome back. We're at the National Museum of African American History and Culture, where in about 15 minutes, the American Heart Association will be having the finals of their Business Accelerator program. I'll be emceeing that program. Joining us right now is Bert Scott, the new chairman of the board of the American Heart Association. How you doing?
I'm doing terrific. How are you today?
All good. First and foremost, what's your goals? What's your focus as a new chair?
Well, my goal is to really help people better understand how health disparities impact people's lives in a real way. The American Heart Association cannot achieve its goals if we don't serve all communities, and African American and Hispanic communities are disproportionately affected by social determinants of health, things that lots of communities don't have to deal with day to day: housing, food shortages, food deserts, not being able to pay for their medicines. Those are things that we are focused on to make sure that we improve the lives of people in that community every day.
And I think that's one of the things that people I believe don't quite understand when we talk about health issues. The reality is, and not just that, but also the stress that people also undergo. All of those things have an impact on someone's health. And so people think it's all about, well, if you have health care or not. But no, if you having issues, if it's poverty, if you're dealing with in areas of crime, if you don't have, of course, quality foods, all of that impacts the type of diseases you get later in life.
I agree. 90% of people's health is determined by their environmental factors: where they live, what they eat, how they eat, the stresses in the community. 10% is about clinical care. And I think you'd be surprised. Most people think that the United States healthcare system is one of the best in the world. It is. It has lots of access for people, but not enough. And we typically fall behind other developed countries in the world in health outcomes, as well as life expectancy. Those are all things that have been created because the environment in which people live in don't support them having great access, great food, eliminating stress, all the things you just talked about.
And I think that's one of the things that when we have these discussions and we have these battles. I mean, the Democrats had a debate the other night, and there was this huge back and forth in terms of Medicare for all and would taxes go up. And I'm sitting here and I'm listening to it, and I think part of the problem, as far as I'm concerned, I always say this here, that the issue in America, everything comes down to money. And so every conversation is always money, money, money. And so to have this healthcare conversation where it's all about, will taxes go up or not, I think misses the point to have what I call a more holistic discussion about health care and wellness in this nation.
I completely agree with you. American Heart Association has been in the forefront of making sure everybody has access to quality health care in every community. If we think about the cost that is incurred from the disease burden that we pay for indirectly, it pales in comparison to the cost of funding health care. Everybody in this country, we believe, should have access to and deserves health care. How we pay for it, we'll all figure that out. But we're paying for it indirectly every day anyway.
I remind. Look, I cover county government when I was at the Austin American Statesman, and I remind people all the time. I said, no, there is a national health care plan. I said, county hospitals, they are required to serve you no matter who goes in. I said, that's the law. I said, who do you think is paying for that? I said, when I was in Tarrant County, then, of course, when I was in Tarrant County in Fort Worth and Dallas County in Dallas, and then when I was in Cook County in Chicago. Cook County, remember they had anywhere from $400 to $600 million in overruns because of folks coming in to the county hospital. I said, folks, you're going to pay for that. Yeah. So you're complaining at a debate, will taxes go up? They had to raise taxes in order to pay off that deficit.
They have that hidden expense. And think about the deferred maintenance. If people can't access their medications, if people can't access primary care or specialty care, they defer all of that. So that means that their health status gets worse, and by the time they finally show up at someplace, it is either too late or incredibly expensive to turn things around for that particular individual. If we had a rational system where everybody had access, appropriate access, as well as dealing with those social determinants. We can't just give people access to clinical care. We have to make sure that the environments they live in allow them to thrive. And as communities thrive, people tend to live longer, are healthier. Give an example. We've both spent time in Chicago, right? So within a 9-mile radius in Chicago, there's a 30-year mortality difference. And that's all has to do with what's available in those communities, the stresses you talked about, the lack of food, the lack of access to care, not enough money to pay for their medication, and challenges with jobs. All of that affects people's health care. We believe that we have to focus on that too if we're going to solve this problem.
So how do you then deal with the not my backyard attitude? Because the reality is we lay all those things out and then folks go, look, that ain't got nothing to do with me, okay? Those folks should work harder and to improve their lives. I mean, that's always seemed to be the default. And then, of course, until something happens in their neighborhood, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, can we please get some governmental assistance?
Mm-hmm. Well, I certainly understand that. I can't answer all of that because I don't know everybody's issue, but everything eventually hits your backyard. And I'll give you a classic example, the opioid crisis that we're dealing with right now, right? Vaping, which we have a very strong position about vaping, that hits everybody's community. And so my neighbors' challenges are my challenges. We have to have that dialogue and point that out at how heart disease and stroke is the number one killer of everybody in America. Everyone. So to the extent that we can share that experience and let people know that everybody is affected by this, and if you help this community, their community will be improved too. That's how hopefully we have a collective and constructive dialogue around that issue.
Last question. Are you also looking at, in terms of, look, people operate in silos, are you also looking at these other organizations, American Cancer Society and other organizations, saying, okay, we all have to also operate sort of as a collective to speak to that issue? Because I think what happens is, I think the general public, if they hear American Heart Association, okay, y'all just worried about people who have strokes and heart attacks. Yeah. And the American Cancer Society, you just worried about, cancer. But what you're talking about, actually, whether you're talking about lupus, whether you're talking about cancer, whether you're talking about any of the diseases, all of those sort of are operating in the same space.
I completely agree with you. And one of the wonderful things about the American Heart Association is we have an amazing CEO, Nancy Brown. One of the things she does best is work with those coalitions. So we just announced not too long ago a collaboration with the American Diabetes Association. Typically, people who have diabetes have comorbidities of heart disease and stroke. Typically, they die from one of those two things, not diabetes, right? So working with them is a natural extension of what we do.
Right.
We have to be holistic in the community. We can't be a single disease organization.
All right. Well, certainly congratulations on becoming the new chair, and look forward to working with you.
I'm excited and look forward to working with you as well. And
cool.
thanks for today.
All right, folks, back to that Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment. All right, fam, it's almost that time. The holiday season, of course, is, for many of us, the favorite time of the year. Now, whether you celebrate Halloween, Thanksgiving, Ramadan, Christmas, Kwanzaa, New Year's, all of these, of course, from October to the end of the year, this is when you think about spending time with the people you love the most. This is also the time to count your blessings and support those less fortunate and look at how you can have an impact on their lives. Well, I have the perfect opportunity for you to be a holiday hero and have a major impact on other families. Here's the deal. Right now, hundreds of thousands of Americans are sitting in jail without being convicted of a crime. Why? Because they lack the financial resources to pay their bail. Now think about it. If you are arrested for any minor offense, you will be taken directly to jail. If you don't have bail money, whether it's a few $100 or a few $1,000s, you will stay there until a court date is scheduled. Now that could be days, weeks, or even months. America's bail system is broken and has created a two-tier system of justice, one for the rich and one for the poor. Folks, freedom should be free. That's why the Ebony Foundation is partnering with the Bail Project and is sponsoring the Home by the Holiday campaign. With your help, our goal is to bail out 1,000 people by New Year's Day. Now, how's that for a holiday gift? A donation from you can change someone's life tomorrow, and here's why it is critical. People of color represent upwards of 90% of the jail population across the country. It ranges from 50 to 90% depending upon where you are. Now, of course, then when they stayed in jail, 90% of people with misdemeanors ended up pleading guilty. However, when bail was paid, 50% of the cases were dismissed and less than 2% received the jail sentence. Sometimes justice needs just us to join the fight. Folks, you can be a holiday hero by donating $25, $50 or more to help the Ebony Foundation bring our brothers and sisters home for the holidays. To donate, go to homebytheholiday.com. It's HOMEBYTHEHOLIDAY.com. And of course, the Ebony Foundation is tied to Ebony Magazine. And so we certainly appreciate the work that they're doing to assist those who are most in need. Now back to your Roland Martin Unfiltered video.